हाँ जी, ये कहाँ फोबिया लगाए हुए हैं? कौन फोबिया है कि पुचका? अरे वही पानी पूरी कितना अच्छा लगता है ना, इमली का पानी डाल के। लेकिन ये ना डर का पानी है, भय का, दुर्भीति और खौफ का पानी है, जो बिल्कुल जाके मन में बैठ जाता है। सोचिए कितना खराब लगता होगा। रात भर किचन का सिंक में जब पानी भरा रहता है तो सुबह तक कितना महक जाता है। सोचिए जब सालों साल तक जब मन में बैठा रहता होगा तो कितना सड़ांध, बिल्कुल सड़ांध मच जाता है। और हम लोगों को देखकर और बाई और होमो भाई लोगों को देखकर तिल मिलाकर इस सड़ांध जग जाता है और आपको लगता है कि सामने से महक आ रहा है, इन्हीं लोग से महक आ रहा है, इनको पकड़ो, इनको मारो, इनको ठीक करो। लेकिन इलाज तो आपके सड़ांध का होना है ना, कैसे होगा? अब वहीं हम लोग से मिलिए, जानिए, पहचानिए, गले भी मिल सकते हैं तो अपने आप धीरे धीरे आपका पानी निकल जाएगा, सड़ान भी दूर हो जाएगा। तो जाके पुचका खाइए, फोबिया नहीं।
Stories will differ, they may never seem the same. Think of the hunter and what the hunted would say. So when do I steal?
When I was coming out as gay, the only stories I ever heard about were about people who didn't look like me. They lived in places like San Francisco and New York, in neighborhoods like Christopher Street and the Castro, which might as well have been on the moon as far as I was concerned. But I knew that there were other people like me, obviously, in a country as big as India, but I never saw their stories anywhere, never read about them, never saw them on film or television. That is why I believe it is so important to tell more and more stories. When my book, Don't Let Him Know, first came out, people said, "Oh, do you mind that it's called a gay book?" I'm like, I don't. Because in the end, we need more and more stories out there so that no one story ever has to bear the burden of representation of the entire community.
Where the mind is not clear and you are wondering why, 'cause they look at you strangely and condition your life. I am taught what love is and what one should admire.
Hi, I'm Raga Olga De Silva, or some of you may know me as Totally Out Now. Hey, I wasn't totally out now until about September, when I decided to express my story in a book called Untold Lies. You know, I came out about 18 years ago, and the first time I came out to the society, to my family and my friends, and you may have heard, I was badly abused, I was shunned, and it was just not acceptable, to the family that I belong to. It's taken a long time, and I decided that sharing this through a story was the best way for me to not only express myself, but also I think stories like us help other people understand the realities of life, accept people for who they are, and then maybe that is the process of transformation for all.
Hi, this is Sunita Rao. I'm here to talk about differences, actually celebrate them. There is a comfort in familiarity. Everybody likes what they know. Take heterosexuality, for instance. Man meets woman, woman meets man. They fall in love and they get married or not, and they live happily or unhappily ever after. But people are safe with that. But what if man meets man and woman meets woman? God forbid, all hell breaks loose. How can you possibly think that somebody is worse than you or less than you just because they are not like you? I mean, all of us live under the same sky. All of us are successfully destroying this earth, the same earth. All of us need food to eat. All of us love to sing. We love to dance. We love to laugh. we're not really different in any way. And if there are differences, it makes the world a more interesting place to live in. I, for one, can speak through my music. My music has actually reached out to the community very, very strongly. And in particular, my song, Pari Hu Main. And that's not just because the word Pari literally translated means fairy, that's incidental. So many gay people have come up to me and they have actually been drawn to me because what it basically signifies is to feel good about yourself, to recognize the beauty in your own identity, and to celebrate it and to express it with sensuality and poetry and joy. And this is what is connected with the community. And I truly believe that there are a lot of them who are probably even closet, who have been suffering all their life and who haven't been able to come out and express themselves and just be themselves, probably gotten married and had children and wanted to lead a double life, probably leading a double life, or never ever gotten married and suffered loneliness for so many years. I mean, I feel deeply connected, and through my music I would like to tell everybody to just continue to express yourself and share and keep singing and remove these phobias and prejudices because they're not going to get you anywhere.
I feel that each of you should use the medium of storytelling in whichever format you want. It could be through TikTok or Instagram or anything, to tell your stories, to empower others to be able to tell their stories, to be out and proud. Very often when people tell me that it's a choice of not coming out, that a lot of artists choose not to speak about their sexual identity, I would say that would be absolutely okay in a space where everything is normalized. But I feel, yes, I respect people's choices, but when you are in a position of privilege, your coming out and being out and proud empowers so many other people to be out, to come out and be proud of their identity, because they feel empowered by your confidence, by your presence in the open space. So I feel that more and more of us need to share our stories.
So I was a very late bloomer. I came out only when I was 26, and basically, like, from looking at the Bombay Doors, I realized my personal has to be political, and there was no looking back after that.
ये सब क्या है? मुझे नहीं करनी कोई शादी वादी.
बोलने दो उसे लगता है कि मैं उसका एनिमी.
अभी तो छोटा है ये.
बस इस बारे में मुझे कोई बात नहीं सुननी है.
This film, Evening Shadows, has helped and enabled a lot of youngsters to come out to their parents, showing this film and telling them, this is how I feel. And the parents are trying to understand their child's sexuality through this film. So it's almost become a resource book for parents. We didn't set out to do that. We set out to a dramatic film with song, music and the works. But it's really helping a lot of people across India. And interestingly, we didn't expect it to work so well overseas, that people across the world would really connect to this particular film.
So the reason I started India's first transgender modeling is as a transgender person, because I realize, and I personally, have been part of a stigma and discrimination, and almost, felt outcasted. I was not allowed to enter a shopping mall just because I'm a transgender person, and they said, like, आप जैसे लोगों के लिए यहाँ कुछ भी ज़रूरत नहीं है. And I was wondering that, what is mall about? Is it about, food, fashion, or anything? If we have access to food, why don't we have access to fashion? Aren't we, enough, equal to any other person who wants to wear, brands, who want to enter fashion industry, who want to be a part of this fashion world, be a model, be a choreographer, can be anything. But now, as later stage, I've started identifying myself as more artist than just being an actor and model.
has helped me overcome a lot that I face every day. One of the reasons being I look different or my appearance is different. Maybe because I don't recognize myself as a woman at a glance. I'm a woman of few words, so I let my music speak for me. It helps me express myself.
In every society, the role of the artist is not to reiterate and to reinforce the preconceived notions of the public and to ratify them, but instead to vehicle his internal expressions as a means to combat phobia, as a means to combat fear of the unknown, notion, idea, community, thought. As far as I'm concerned, ever since I was a child, I've had gay friends. I've been exposed to the LGBTQ community. For as far as I can remember, I've had friends who are same-sex couples, and they're like my friend, like any other friend. So I don't see any difference between straight or non-straight or anything else. I mean, I've never found anything different. It's just a way of being. In fact, I was part of a very well-received web series recently called Made in Heaven, made by some very sensitive people. And I was pleasantly surprised to hear that the younger generation has been binge-watching it, only because it talks so frankly and so easily about sexuality without trying to give it form or color. The idea of freedom, the basic idea of freedom means that one is free to do what one feels like doing. I mean, if someone's sexuality is of a particular kind, then so be it. Who am I to impose my sexuality on somebody else? It's somebody's personal fiefdom. We can all live with our own colors under the same rainbow.
I came out almost 10 years ago, and when I did, there were hardly any avenues for LGBTQ people to express themselves. And I remember the one thing that I really very badly wanted to do after I came out was to express my emotions, express my feelings. I had so much to tell, and that I didn't find a space where I could express myself and reach out to the world, share my thoughts to the world. And that's when Galaxy took birth. In these 10 years, I've had numerous people also express themselves. Galaxy has empowered their expressions as well, and they have written their own personal journeys, their fictional stories, their poems, and a lot many other things. And all the articles that not just people have written or I have written have helped so many other different people who have written back telling how it has inspired them, it has helped them.
Because what the Rainbow Lit Fest did was really showcase queer lives and experiences in multiple ways. In books, certainly, but through music, dance, performances and films. And on this idea of it, I think it's important to recognize just how important these forms of expression are, because they tell our stories, and through our stories people can learn about our lives. We queer people can recognize that there are so many different beautiful ways to be queer, and all of them are wonderful. And for straight people, they can get to learn just about how wonderful our lives are, how not different and in so many ways different they might be from their experiences, and recognize the beauty and in the commonality and the differences as well.
Namaste, my name is Devdutt Pattanaik. I write on mythology, stories, symbols and rituals that communicate a people's truth. I am a gay man and very comfortable with my sexuality, and I always have been, though I don't talk much about it, except when necessary, like now. I realize that most people aren't homophobic, but they're just not aware of homosexuality. And they're not aware of homosexuality because they don't read enough, or they don't have access to material that talks about different forms of sexuality and gender. They're not exposed to the arts, they are not exposed to music, which sing about these things, talk about these things. Somewhere these things have been sidelined in our popular culture. But now it's coming back. I mean, I watch TikTok videos regularly to get a sense of what the young people are saying. And you find so many videos of young people in rural areas talking about sexuality, about being gay, about being transgender. I see videos by the Kinder community. I see young boys and girls who are couples.
हाय दोस्तों, आइए खाना खा लो.
राम भाइयों, क्या दिक्कत है? क्या लिखे कमेंट में मुंह चनु है? मेरे को ना घंटा भी फर्क पड़ता है, कह जाओ.
When I was growing up, there was this film called Fire, which was, I think, pretty much the first film of its kind for the queer community, which spoke of the queer community. And when I watched it, it hit me like, it hit me like thunder that, okay, I'm not alone. There are people like this. There are characters like this. There are stories like this. And it gave me, even though it was a tragedy and there was, it caused all sorts of furor in the country, it gave me a sense of peace. Similarly, there was this American film called, known film called Trans America, which is about a woman transitioning, a male to female person transitioning to being a woman. I felt like that was my life. I felt like I was being represented on screen, and that gave me a sense of belonging to myself. I think until that point, I didn't even feel that I belonged to my own self. And I think that may be the subconscious reason I chose to be a storyteller myself, be a film writer myself. Because firstly, I think it's important to me to be able to tell our stories, tell stories of queer people, because they're hardly represented. Secondly, I think it's also a payback in a way. I want to give back in some way the way those stories gave to me when I was growing up.
At the fireplace, loving in the pouring rain, close your eyes, and smiling souls close to my heart. And I shall hold fairy lights, make we dance into our own heartbeat, red wine, table talks, pour me all.
I had to face my own inner phobias before dealing with the world. And trust me when I say this, it was easier to deal the world once I accepted and I embraced myself for who I was and who I am today. Music was an aid in my journey because music always helped me to express myself and to show my real side, the true side of me to everyone else. And I would urge everyone to use any medium of expression, whether it could be in the form of music, a song, or a poem, maybe anything else, and share your story. That will bring the change. And that will be the real essence of observing Ida Hobbit.
But on a day like this, I think about how the journey has been so far. And it's amazing now when I think about it, how it was when we started about 25 years ago. There were no voices then, there were no role models, there wasn't a strong community. And look today, we have people from the community whose voices reflect such a vibrancy. There's theatre, there's music, there's art, people are coming out. And yes, homophobia does exist, and yes, we still see a lot of discrimination. And the battle ahead is a very long one. I mean, we haven't even, at least in India, we haven't even begun the journey of rights. But at least I think that the opportunity to do so is there, and I think it's so important that we don't lose heart. We think of all the incredible things that have happened and how there's so much more, and it's all about ensuring that we make things happen. We take that leap forward. We trust ourselves to do this.
कहानी वो सुर है, वो साज है, किसी का अंजाम या कोई आगाज है। कहानी एक सोच है, अल्फाज हैं और उनके बीच कुछ गहरे जज्बात हैं। ये थी चंद लफ्जों में पिरोई एक सतरंगी कहानी, हमारी जुबानी।
Why do you hide? Why do you care? When you are you, why care if they stare? Don't even think, just show them your flair. Keep your eyes looking straight at theirs. Why do you hide? Why do you care? When you are you, why care if they stare? Don't even think, just show them your flair. Keep your eyes looking straight at theirs. There's no point being just someone else. There's no point being just one of them. There's no point being